that we have been made. But increasingly, they don't belong here. And you ke khanye tanare se ka se ko tse dingwe clearly wa bona gore gona le gore how di lebile hela on the surface o ka re le yone tshenyetso se ba mo teng so tse dintsi yalo they will find their way to the DCC in one way or the other ka gore wa kanya gore ngwe di ka hetswa ke rona ha go ka nna bokete ka ha dintseng ka teng hela ke tsela gore gongwe ditaba tsa di helle di logane go ba batho thomisang corruption tse dingwe o di lebile o ka itha ke to ka le mapodisi a ka tsena sorry technical advisor remove ne kere tse dingwe ke tse o bona gore le mapodisi a ka tsena mo go tsone ka ga o ithelang dintsi ka teng mme tsholo yalo ya rona gore mme dikgadi ta salo morago se re se sologela le go gaisa ke gore ha e leng gore go tlhokagala remedial action that must be done ha e le gore go tlhokagala gore go baakangwe dikgang tse di amang dituelo le di-structure tsa dituelo those ones must be done before our next meeting. There's always a tendency towards waiting until the next meeting. A gona selo se se siameng jaaka ere ha le kopane conversation ya lona bo e flowa ka gore tse di dumalaneng di dirilwe because ke dumela gore ha e le gore tse e leng gore di dumalano ha di a dirwa nako e re kopana gape le ba bantseng ba re batho ba PSC ba bogale gante le ba tla toga ba dumalana le bogale batho ba teng mone ba re nyame go siame hela nnang bogale batho ba ga ba batle go dira tiro so a re direng gore re tere tshela ka botsalano go ya go pele ka gore tse di dumalanwang di a dirwa Ministry of Health ha ke hitisa tse ke di tshotseng go na le gongwe le ka just a brief on by EMS. Bana le dilelo le bone a kitse gore a lwa di itse mme ha e le gore lwa di itse le dirang ka tsone ba dilelo dintsinyana ha e le gore la di itse le tare bolela ha le sa di itse jaanong le tare bolelwa ke rona ba re buang le bone paroto ya kgele yone eo ya bobedi ke kganya ya orthopedic implants gore ka re go na le batho ba bantsinyana ba simololang go nna le ngongorego ya gore go hilwe komponi e lengwe hela tendera tsone tsa orthopedic implants mme yaanong go ithela le gore ba bangwe di-practitioners ga ba amogele thata kgotsa ga ba dumelane thata le komponi eo le di-quality of the products tse di tisang dikomponi tse dingwe tse ne dintsi di le teng tse le gore ne go dumela gore di provide quality e rileng go lebega di segetse ko thoko ke re le one ha e le gore le ka kgona go ya kgela le ya kgele kgang yone eo ya boraro ke e yamang special funds lona le di-special funds tse pedi tse ke di thomamisang go na le alcohol levy le ya tobacco levy se motho ba batla go se itse ke gore a mme di na le sengwenyana tsone tseo mme in the last 2 years le ntse le di dirisa jang ka gore ba ba dira le dikgang tse di amanang le di-drugs le alcohol ba supa gore it's very very difficult to source the monies on ya alcohol levy ba ba dira le dikgang tsa tse di bagane le motsoko tobacco le bone ba re ba bona go le thata even hela gore ba source madi a ba ka kgona go tsena mo baneng mo dikweleng go preventa uptake ya go goga motsoko di phatsa go le kala ba re ba bona gore o ka re go thata tota jaanong ga ke re ke lebelela kga ya teng ke tshwantseng ya le sene se buya ke ba Ministry of Finance ba supa gore ga gongwe ke dipalo hela madi ga yo mo teng o ke re gongwe kana e ka tswa e le gore mathata ke jone jo mme hela motho na ka batla go itse gore di-fund tse in terms of the amounts di tsamaya kae, and why is it that go na le batho ba ba supang gore di-funds tse the special funds don't seem to be doing what they're intended to do as prescribed by the fund order. Ke tsone hela tse ke na le tsone bo gompieno tse dintsi ba ka oleng ba di coverile. Ne ke re hitise ka tsone ke teira ha ke le ho ke tsena mo di financially. Ke a leboga.
I'm going to start to talk to the last one. I will not have all the information, but it's information I can get. As far as we are aware, there's money, but just like as far as what we can see when we look, there is money in the funds, and then access to funds actually is done according to the fund order. There is usually there's a public announcement that we're going to be funding these kinds of projects, and people apply, and usually there's a budget of how much is going to be awarded at each time for these projects, and then the projects are evaluated. There's a process of evaluation. There's a committee that does evaluations, and then they are awarded. I'm aware that there have been some complaints, sometimes complaints from people who believed that they should have been awarded because what they are providing, the services they are providing would be of great benefit. But we have recently been looking at these levies to really look at in the bigger scheme of things. For all the funds that have been awarded, what has really been the impact, so that we really know whether what the funds are being awarded is making an impact. But as far as I'm aware,
in each of them, in the last 2 years or in the last 19 months, we are now PS. The NGO alcohol and drugs, all heavily relaying alcohol and drugs.
yeah,
I think that should come out very clean. We just want to get that.
Yeah, the specific information we can find out.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they would have the figures, because we would have to look, because these are monies. We'll have to look at what has actually been awarded and how much and what is in the bank right
we
now.
Continue on the trend that you guys don't have a clue on many things that you should have a clue on.
Yeah,
I get to continue on that trend, and I'm not happy with that.
I beg your pardon. I'm very sorry, Honorable Lucas, but a lot of the information is difficult to know it all offhand.
No, but this is, to me, if you have special funds, you should be able to know, or no memory special funding. It should be in your records. So you can access them very easily. Or special funds are not in the last 2 years, in the last 19 months, if I may say, that to me is basic information.
Honorable, we will need to get that information.
Trend information. I don't think it's proper that we operate in that fashion. The alcohol levy, in the last 19 months.
I know.
Sorry, Chair. There's an annual report that we prepare that shows the income statement and the balance sheet for every year. So what we are trying to source now is maybe send us from the office. They would send us the financials so that we can be exact on what we are talking about. There are reports that we submit for special funds every year end. So at the top of my head, I cannot say the figures, but I wasn't anticipating that that would come to the table. But it can be provided now. Ra? No, I was thinking of just what is in the reports.
That's not how we work. How I know we get a lot of reporting, so we know what kind of water for the Budiwa. This is a whole huge area. We will ask you those questions.
That can be provided in a few minutes.
Can be provided in a few minutes. Alcohol levy. It's our what big project have you done as Ministry of Health through yourselves directly or through partners? So I'm worried that no information in Cialo, I will be on top of things. We will which is not right.
My question are these special funds are didn't go all on roughly because that would be an excuse. Nankari Charla Hailo didn't, but it's didn't total. I got chairman, I was sorry, Poyanka finance person Kako.
I didn't see the pedia like chairman Abu. What I was saying, the figures, I cannot be precise on them.
Can you just say no rehabilitation center go Lidumang or releasing Wakamadia somewhere?
At least one big project in the alcohol levy in a fundileke renovator the old Sekoma Hospital as a rehabilitation center for alcohol and drugs. This is the alcohol levy. And it's almost complete. I see that the funds were used to renovate.
Organization SASNet. Your has even gone under, it has closed doors. May deal rehabilitation, yeah, but was substance abuse. Have you been in contact with it?
We know about the issue of SASNet, and it's been looked at. I think what I can explain, the awarding of money, just like tenders, it has to be seen to be fair, transparent, and fair and transparent. So when the calls come, a lot of organizations apply. A lot of organizations. So there's a committee that actually, and it's made of people from even different ministries who are responsible or who look after these funds, and they look through all the applications, and then they are awarded based on the criteria that I know the issue of SASNet, but just like direct appointments or we are not at liberty to just give funds.
You know how one about to about the post how we about to confirm halasi how we kill basi bona go tsaba suit ya no how di arabe ka bo maruri ka gore in some situations go ta bo reject by organization or NGO go te gongwe ga ya submit a particular document long document e hetse le go tenko, and then we how similar wow supplement the information that you provide. Nothing happens. So a lot of NGOs that deal with alcohol and tobacco related issues are frustrated by the way these funds are operated. O ka ne di sa direlwe tsone dikgang tsa go hokotsa nnotagi, ne di sa direlwe rehabilitation ya batho ba nnotagi kgotsa ba motsoko. So I think look into that. Report, let's have the report. Special funds that will help a great deal, because we will be on it again when we meet you, Modi meeting the Dilatela, because dealing Tata Ministry of Health information from yourselves, and that has been very disappointing. I think next time are the financials. Okay, EMS.
Okay. Yeah, EMS, I don't have information.
But is it under your ministry?
EMS, it actually falls under one of the departments in the ministry. It's
so. Yeah, memorandum of progress.
We're really not sure what the current complaint is, but we do know that the ministry in 22-23 sent a lot of employees for training, and some of them were EMS, came from the department. And so in the time that these were in training, the department has a lot of temporary employees. And so what I'm not sure is who's complaining.
Let me tell you, because you want me to go into it. The same issues that have been talked about technicians being stuck at B2 without going to C4, those are the issues. Those are issues around salaries. Those are the issues around working conditions. The allowance appropriate, say Lord, channel whenever to buy Lord, attend the goods. But the big one, a technician, your knowledge qualification, a really technician, they wrote at B2 for several years, and that is a big issue that I think you should look at and attend to, and we will be following it up to see if there's anything being done about it.
Yeah.
I think that's a key issue within the ministry. Only the post the regarding permanent and pensionable EMS workers. That's the first issue. The second issue they've been employed as terms under B2, maybe qualification is relaying for a very long period of time. However, a structure EMS within the ministry.
Okay. Some of these I'm going to have to give a report, because I do know that many of the allied health, we've had. I think this actually comes historical from the way the health system has functioned in the past, that there were very few professions. And so a lot of the allied health professions, they didn't grow in terms of the positions that were made available. And EMS is even one of the later professions. And so there wasn't enough provision that was created in terms of positions for EMS. And those are some of the things that we really need to resolve structurally as well. So, but we can give a full report.
I think look at these issues. What comes to my mind is that maybe you are not very close to action. Because I can access about national information because but how can matata abon. For instance, no kilo address about EMS, you would better know or matata aboneki. And I would encourage you to interact more. Good on how what some minister or get the range, but you should create time to talk to the people Baba Katas how so that we appreciate the matata. We go into the financials, and with this note that I was given in the morning, that non-moving issues, we are talking about 490 for interest. We are talking about 460 for salary overpayments. Those are big numbers. I don't think we have seen these numbers before. For retentions, we are talking about 286. So I think as we go into that, we hope that you'll be able to give explanations on a lot of these issues that are coming our way. Can we start with the memorandum of progress, please?
And also non-moving the bond, training bond.
Training bonds?
Yeah, forms part of those non-moving items.
Yeah. So we will have a better explanations in terms of the financials. We start.
Let's go to the memorandum of progress. We have looked at these things together with our accountant general. So since Dwetsabone didn't, we've just decided we'll point them to where there are issues.
You point
to where there are issues only. Otherwise, the zeros will be closed. Need the balance the memo. One kuta. Harna go page through the pages out. Re tlo go bontsha tse leng gore di zero ha me ga di a tshwana re be di tswetse. O ke di memo me di tswetse. Otherwise, the zeros will be closed. And then signally the balance will be memos, statement 1422, Kidimonit. Okay. I'm going to go honorable.
The technical advisor is proposing an approach that says that she will be leading us, but then she will only point out to areas where there are problems. Is that the approach that we endorse, honorable members?
I think provided we have understood the explanations as to why there's no movement. I agree there should be explanation. Under progress, all since we should understand what under progress or lying and what are the implications. Once we have understood that and got the principle, then we can lump them under that understanding.
I don't know whether maybe you should pay it through Lonalibu Halibun thing, Hela. Because I'm not going to go one by one. Lona Halibun thing, Hela, let's just page through.
Just a general overview of why there would be over 400 cases involving imprest before we go into them picking the ones that they think are problematic.
Now, I would say that would be the right approach. For example, more page 11, case under progress, case under progress, case under progress, case under progress, case under progress. Rather than whoever explain a case under progress one by one, me deal 400 daily case under progress.
Yeah, I can happen me that to say just case under progress it's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. But let me do this. The first thing, like we said, there are just too many issues around interest. There's too many issues around salary overpayments. There are issues around retentions. There are issues around training bonds.
Yes. Just to add, more taxing. A lot of tax had to get reconciliation ongoing, and more recovery of overpayment of salary. There are lots of issues. How think efforts to locate ex-employee didn't sell it on, and then private inpatients, private outpatients. There's very little movement, and health services. The issue didn't.
Hey, I'm the technical advisor. Can we say maybe, for instance, they take us through the issue of interest? Horbadi talos ajang yaga honorable khone na bu talos yo irai ga go talos di ngwa di rese How case in progress? You are really not communicating. Because we need to know what more progress. And if you say just case in progress. So first of all, Madam Finance Director, can you just give a synopsis of why so many impressed cases? Are there any particular reasons?
Reme ho itlela didn't go to general's report agar. A reme ho itlela teng ko.
So
But they explain le memo.
Memo pay.
Eh.
Thank you. Let's do the memo and then that will.
Okay, for memo, you've understood like accountant. Eh. Let's go to page 96.
Memo starts with what?
Here in part 1.
Starts with part 1. Yeah, this is the one, right?
Yeah. We go
Okay.
to page 96.
We go
This bottom, the item 324.
Item
324 was paid after cut-off date, so it remains a memo.
Ha so re ngwe re go busetsa page 11 re tlhaloganye bone go case under progress ba gore ba reng. 1 2 3 4 5.
page 11.
Maybe I will talk to Yadi Koloi. It's the most of these cases under in page 11, they emanate from both 2013, 2014, 2015. So there have been a lot of challenges with actually closing this, because to close them, you need to, where it's clear that the accidents were preventable, you need to have taken action against the officer and then recovered the funds. Now the ministry has been challenged with a large number of accidents, from the past. And then the other issue has been that there have been delays in there have been delays in taking addressing disciplinary hearings. Because currently what happens is that if once an accident is reported to CTO, what has been happening, then for the CTO or for us to get an estimate of what to charge the officer, especially where the accident has been deemed preventable, that value was generally derived from the cost of repairing the vehicle. So I understand that there was a delay in the repairing of vehicles because the repairing depended on the availability of funds. And so many times, by the time the values were received from CTO, it was too late for you to be able to justifiably take disciplinary action. And so then it just defeated the process. And so what we have actually now since February started doing is to actually look at the value loss of a vehicle if it's been determined that this was a preventable accident, because that's a much shorter process. And because that's a much shorter process, which would allow when disciplinary action can be taken, will be taken, because that's the only way that you can surcharge someone when they have gone through the right disciplinary action. So this is what we have started to implement. Unfortunately, these most of them, and although we said case under progress, but it's not conceivable that someone who did an accident in 2013, you can still go to them and do a disciplinary hearing and charge them. because of natural justice. So these are things that we actually need to do, what needs to be done to close them. But it's very unlikely we will recover that money. But going forward, as I said, we have actually instituted a number of things. We are working now with the Government Fleet Management, which was formerly called CTO, to, one, take our drivers for especially for defensive driving techniques, because there were just too many accidents involving our vehicles. And then that has already been done in the south and the central part of the country. Now, the other issue that also, even where the disciplinary processes could have happened in time, sometimes there were delays, but we have worked, we've determined that some of it were actually from the competency of people who needed to carry out those. So we've also currently training people on conducting disciplinary hearings. So, and then I've already talked to the issue of the transport officers, because sometimes there were delays in that. Currently, our fleet management and also the supervision of drivers is done by admin officers who are sometimes not conversant with the issues around transport management. And so that caused a lot of delays. And that's why we actually in the process of rationalizing position to create positions for transport officers. And we are hoping that this year we would be able to create 9 positions that would allow us also to reduce the process of recovering what governments, or recovering from the individuals that would have been deemed to have caused the accident. So those are, that is what I can explain with this, because as we can see, they really come from many years ago, these cases.
So basically what you are saying to us is that those that come from 2014, 2013 and other years before then, you put them here as a case under progress, but you are saying they should be written off. Because you cannot now conduct a disciplinary hearing 10 years later.
Yeah.
If it has not been conducted at the time, then you cannot do it now. So are you saying then you want to ask for write-offs for these ones?
We are not yet asking for write-offs, because that also is a process. There's a process that needs to be followed, and those processes need to be complete. That would actually allow for that to be done.
One of the processes is to ensure that there is a disciplinary hearing, right? If you have not done that, then the process of write-off, what does it entail? Why have you been with this for 10 years without any action?
Yeah, I think some of these actually come from the districts, or come from the districts, and so we need to close the process even from the districts. So I am not justifying that it has taken too long, and so we are getting all the information that we need to, so that we can close whatever the closure means. And maybe
yes, what is the process of writing off? Because you are now saying these ones have taken too long, and you are saying because of natural justice, you can't start now saying you are putting a person under disciplinary process after 10 years. So what is the process of write-off, so that at least we acknowledge that money has been lost to government, but now we want to know what process are you going to follow from here?
Yes, so the process basically is for the department, or to write to myself to say, this and this one we can no longer discipline because it's taken too long, and then to see whether it is actually, is that true, is that a fact, and then we would need to, if it's evident that there is no way to recover, then we would need to write to finance to request.
I'm told that those within your threshold and those that we have to refer to finance.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
For those within your threshold, have you taken action? For those that should be referred to finance, have you written a single letter?
I have, sir.
You have?
Yeah.
So when you say case under progress, you mean that you have written a letter?
I cannot, not all of them, not
But
all of them.
This may not be communicating anything to us. Or so what le makwalo ke bore itse tse le hore that within your threshold le tsone ga bore ne re itse re bona hore o tsere action e. Honorable members, I kitura
Yeah.
no,
No, I think Piers needs to acknowledge the fact that she hasn't done Sanachans or Kaba Asidiri. What she's explaining is now something she should have long done, because from 2018, 2014, back then, there's no prospects of recovering this money. And therefore, knowingly or not, explanation today does not apply. It is what you should have done in the past. So perhaps to save us the trouble, Mr. Chair, I would direct
hey,
I
what-
think
let me just okay. Now I just want now to maybe to seek the guidance and advice of our advisors here. Here we have cases, right, that are under progress. There are 14 years. Nothing seems to have been done up to now. What then becomes the next course of action in terms of this kind of cases?
As long as they finalize.
Make another advice last time, but what health? Keep the ministry and do it in sincere, let's say it's on. The advice was, Kanabatu Health, it's one of those ministries which has all these things from years back. I mean, we are looking at things in order that are more than 10 years old. The advice was last time, or about 10 general, to see what is possible and what is not. And within threshold, there's nothing that can be done. Within threshold, PS. Direct you off because year in, year out, these things are permanent in the books.
Accountant General and Auditor General, can you proffer some advice, please, here? Rutule. Attorney General.
Tota nna ke utlwang PSA se bua. PSA re o itlhela mokoyo wa di-case o sa attendiwa. Yaanong se PSA se buang ke gore o sa attendiwa yana. Gore a gore yaanong a kere I cannot take them to attention because clearly they're prescribed. Yaanong se ke se irang ke gore officers are writing to me, the responsible officers, ba nkwala justifying why I should write off this matter. Well, this is where the case is under progress. What she means, the officer individually, they are explaining to me why I should write off this matter. It cannot be Attorney General because it has never come to Attorney General. So for now, we're out to say progress. PS together with the officers investigating what really happened to justify her writing them off. Because for her to write off, she needs to have evidence that this is what delayed it distracting it. Therefore, if it's irrecoverable, so we cannot get anything, then she approves or disapproves. So she was not specific. So if she's to do any work, like Honorable Pologolo say, it will be just to specify for a year, most agents.
Yeah, but you see, the issue here, Senior Counsel, is that these are matters that have been raised before with the Ministry of Health. She is saying, the council necessarily Ministry of Health. Even the last time around, when there was interaction between PAC and Ministry of Health, these were still the issues, and they were asked to attend to them. Today,
Because Canada, some of them are more than 10 years. It was didn't thing here.
Wa utlwa ka hore kana matches are relatively new in the ministry. The buck stops with her. So
19 months?
It's a chairman. The buck stops with her, and kore staff sa gagwe like sa tshwana go se judge me they leave a lot to be desired because by now ela ba nile le ene ba mo tlhalosa dio tse ga tsa action. So tota hela ministry needs to be shaken, accounting officer. Thank you.
Hora che
Marute Pakulolo Pile, Accountant General and Auditor General, maybe you have something to say. These are matters that I think we really must engage and find a course of action.
Yes, thank you, Chair. As has already alluded, that there is a process in place when an accident takes place. That you report to the police and you and everything, and then disciplinary action is taken, as you alluded earlier. But in this case, it appears that was not followed in a number of cases. So the Attorney General was saying right now is a matter of rectifying this, taking action, of course, with justifications, but and also looking forward that really measures be put in place on a very serious note, that we don't have a recurrence of such going forward.
Auditor General.
Thank you, Chair. Khamangolibele from Auditor General. I think, Chair, you've said it all, that these have been sitting here in the books for many, many years. And in accounting terms, actually, you cannot even disclose this as money that we'll ever get. So, but there are structures and functions available to the PS within the ministry, like the internal auditors are there. There is the government audit committee. In governance, you would need to be meeting at least quarterly and reporting on the follow-up that you are doing on these things, and you'll see them move. If you don't utilize those structures, then I think that's where the problem comes from. So I think the accounting officer should stipulate timelines within which this can be resolved, follow-ups. I think when you look at them as the accounting officer, you should be able to say, the name of this one, I know this is what we have done, and this particular one is not possible. You should be knowing them from the tips of, I know there are many, but it should be demonstrable that you know these issues, you go over them time and time again. So I think the timelines are needed so that the next meeting of the committee does not find these issues still here. Thank you.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm covered. It's a lot of honore. Attorney General who did the needful body right thereof.
Attorney General is not even saying he wants a meeting.
Can Attorney General what's an refer to Attorney General?
Yeah.
So these are still internal. So none gets a hurry. It can be or comment in the specific progress.
Here. It's just a slip of the tongue. Or as per your advice, the advice it's about Babuankate, about Copanem body right off, it's within that limit. It's outside that limit, then, but the need for because do you already prescribe it?
PS, local and I think local committee. In the past, PAC has interacted with Minister of Health. Next year, because processes have not been followed. And I'm being very, very nice here. Action maybe within 3 months, noticeable progress in attending to these matters. We can't go on like this where that's not how we should work. So, kopo ya me ke yone eo, and I just hope it will be heeded. A re tsweleng pele.
Okay, let's go to page 113.
Page 113.
Ekare ke tsietswa ke tsamaiso e re dirang. Like for instance, before we go to page 113, perhaps we can go to page 20. Leon, it appears, the comment appears a couple of times. It's on a reconciliation, which needs one-time explanation. And please, Piers, when you explain these things, clearly you took so long to explain that you have not done the job. Can you just be short and to the point to save us time? What is this reconciliation that we find in page?
Yes, and to link debit and credit to offset the balance, awaiting assistance from AG.
In page 31, yeah. But then again, before then, page.
You earlier on referred to page 20, did you say?
Yeah, page 20.
Yeah.
She needs to speak to the comment here to link debit and credit to offset the balance, awaiting assistance from Attorney General.
From AG and
yeah, from AG. Yeah, I don't know if it's. I always think Attorney General is AG.
Yeah, but those
possibly on this one is is Accountant General. I don't know. So you can see how confusing this whole thing is. Can we deal with 20, page 20, number 27? The same goes to number 33 on the same page.
Actually, there are a number of them there. On page 20, I'm already seeing about 4
and 31,
5. To link debit and credit to offset the balance. What does it mean? What is it communicating to lay people like myself?
Era. Thank you, Chair. This refers to whereby you would find the same person annually a credit balance and a debit balance which are detached. The other line, ili credit, and I be na debit. Like for example, your name in Honorable I Super. Yeah, item number 33. He appears on page 13, on page 18, item number 13, as having a credit of 7,980. And then you would also, as you go down on page 19, you would find the same person with the 7,900 now as a debit. And then when you go to page 33, you would find the same person having a credit of 12,000. So that is the merging that we are.
No, can we deal with Kosizile on page 20, number 27 and number 28? It's the same person. Maybe explain looking at that one.
Maybe also explain why diligence
and why and whose responsibility is it to link the two.
Item 27 and 28 would find that he has a credit of the same amount. So the responsibility is for us to maybe make an adjustment to Accountant General, and then that would be cleared. The balances will be fixed.
Did you do that?
Not yet. We have.
When are you doing it? And what stopped you from doing it before you came here?
And happy why do you think? So can I do
And there are
this
so many.
submission?
Yeah.
It lets you those things.
Nothing is stopping us from doing this. So I promise the House that will be done. I think these ones, these linking, would be done in a period of a month. Would be done.
But
With
what
this
kind of
same-
assistance are you looking for Accountant General?
No. Accountant General, we just have to do the adjustment and agree upon with them.
Members Rumula, no.
You are waiting assistance from them. It is as if it's a matter
That they
before
need to do
before them, and you are waiting for some response.
It's noted, but there's nothing that is stopping us from doing this, from clearing this. We'll do that in the course of time.
Did you say you will have done it in a month?
Yes, clearing these linkages.
Honorable Chair, she said she will correct or
All the linkages.
or deal with the linkages within a month.
And then you would advise our office once you've done it. Is that?
There'll still be memos as well, in a way. There'll still be memos.
There will still be?
Memos.
Yes, there are memos, is fine.
She's still going to report on them the next.
No, but you see, the problem that I see with ourselves as PAC is also that we want to wait for a year where a person can do it and then corrective. But now we are saying we want to wait for the next sitting and then borita
Kore ha go ka go I think ha go ka go ga tso dia tswaela mo di accounts nga ke. Ke statement ma go ha ka go ga tswaela mo di accounts. O tla be o dintse go le mo di accounts tsa go pena. O kra isu ya just.
Ma, I just
I suggest I said 2022 23. Dia go tla di dule mo.
Directly so.
Se ke se buang ke gore a kere me wena wa ro o ka leka go adjust in a month. How adjusted in a month? How a problem ya or how ta gape to PAC boritela gonse gonse because what people do, which I think is very unfortunate, ko gore ha re ka re kopanya go buiwa ka ile ka bona go teng go bua ra bua go tsonga gona sepe se dirwang until the next meeting. Normally that would happen after a year, but how go ngodi tata di ntse in the next account. Some action has been taken. That makes a difference. So, back in a month.
It is true that the next reporting, because it would be 22-23, the same cases will be there, but would have attached to the cases the supporting documents that we have done this in this financial year.
We must see progress. All right? Thank you very much.
But the chair advisor yes, that will happen, but
that I don't have a problem with, Honorable Khonery. Se ke se bua le ene bi na le ene ra tlhaloganyana gore le ha eta bo eta di buka di supa yana me ha ba gone o ta bo supa gore some progress has been made, and that is what we are looking for.
And same shall then be attached. Page 31.
30 or 81.
31, reconciliation ongoing. I mean, the reason why we bring some of these up is because the remarks are empty. They are not explaining fully what you perhaps wanted to communicate.
As regards reconciliation ongoing on statement 19, it refers that when these people habatla ba duela, like make say example ya madi a matona 13 million. Ke madi a leng gore tla be re kulutiwa ke within this balance, re tla be re kulutiwa ke BDF bale. Ya no reconciliation when they have paid. There are some whom I sourced documentation like yesterday. I sourced documentation to show that they have paid. So I need to tally those payments with the invoices, which I did not have much time to do. So the reconciliation ongoing, we are referring to that so that we can reduce or clear the balance. Reconciliation is trying to see to it who within the balance has paid what invoice what, and then we merge, and then we see how we could clear the balance. So we have some payments, a few payments that I have now.
Should we treat it the same way we treated the one that you explained earlier?
Yeah.
That as much as it will appear and pass as a memo, there will be a report on the side that will show that reconciliation was done.
Yes, which will be elaborative to say out of this 13 million, if it's not cleared, how much has been cleared, and we could attach the supporting
That's
documents.
what we're looking for.
Okay.
That's what we're
It's
looking
not
for.
wholly cleared.
We would not want to go to the other issues around that. How the receipt say like yesterday. We don't want to go into that. But now I think we are agreeing how can you attend the next books, then uta wo super taloso ha itse gore nyame ha re dirile jana go thaetse. Thank you very much.
But Chair, Hakitse, maybe we need to talk to the format of reporting. What's going to happen? In the next books, are we going to see another reconciliation ongoing? I think here the issue is, in your coming books, let's not see reconciliation ongoing.
Yes.
Describe the scenario in the comments.
Definitely. That's why I'm saying you would find a note, if I haven't cleared the 13 million, you would find a better note to say, out of the 13 million, this is what I managed to collect, and the balance remaining, I'm doing this and that with it.
This is what we
That's
want.
what I'm promising.
Please don't transfer her soon, so that I had a theory. Repopulate morale or what the book as it really the email of Honorable Mutausa. You are at page. I think one of the members you have something between this page and page and 113.
No,
You can go to 113.
Page 113. I want a table and I want to totally.
Ma?
How hard to want the balance?
Emma.
Go to choose not close, 43 right up to 47. They're all memos, but there are no balances.
Emma. Noted.
I think we're done with the memo. Those are the issues with the memo.
We can now go to the
Auditor General's report.
Auditor General's report, yes. Okay. I get even on the Auditor General's response, we are following the same format.
Yes.
And the format is, if you have any issue,
We
we will
will.
raise it, honourable members. But the Auditor General and the Accountant General, they have looked at these books. Le bone, so our kai kan na war hai ke teu kar ba bona. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, the format is the same. Honourable members, Tabulili Bilele Lona, Accountant General, Attorney General, Accountant General and Auditor General Libone Balibile. Haba boni ngona le sengwe ba tare misa le lona ha le bonang gona le issue to be attended to, please Let's attend to those.
Okay, let's go to page 2, item 8, the 1 year transferred to IHRS. We close that. Remo, Chief Accountant.
Item 8, Emma,
Emma,
page 2. Emma, can you come back again?
What?
Cutting at
Page 2, item 8, yeah, the one that's transferred to IHS, we close.
we close.
Yes, because it's been transferred. Then we go to page 4. Item 24, we close. 24.
Page 4.
Page 4, 24.
Page?
4, item 24.
Okay, all right. For page 424.
Then, okay, before we go to the next page, I go page page 12. Okay, no, not page 12. Page 12. Page 4, page 22. Page
Through you, Chair.
22.
I just want to appreciate, just briefly, the technical advisor did explain how we are doing things. Kindly request to appreciate whether the ministry, PS and her team understands the way, appreciates the way we are doing things now. You're okay with it? Okay.
Other than that, we can refer later
To
say,
ourselves.
did I understand here?
Okay.
In the interest of time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to page 22.
Page 12.
Item
Ma'am.
189.
Sorry, page 12.
No, let's go
Okay.
to page.
We're leaving it.
Yes. Page
Page 22.
22, item 189. It's still outstanding, so
189.
no, it was page 12.
189.
189,
Emma,
item 189
Emma.
is still outstanding. So it's a memo. Then we go to page 72. Your retention, eh?
Sorry, can we do page 71 before 72?
Okay.
Refurbishment of old hospitals. The top table. Progress for Maung is at 90%. We take it or it's still at 90%. Lohore, it's a project that Salissimo 2016. We are in 2025, 10 years later. Rona hantsere le ba di project tsone tsa old hospitals e na o kare di project tse ha gona agency ya gore di hele both from the ministry o di dirang le the user ministry of the facility, because ha no gona le that agency ya gore di hele ke hanka behela gongwe gona le se le gore ba batla go se dirisa that old building. But it seems from the user department, you are not clear gore le batla go dirisa eng di-building tse bothata ke eng go sena phisego mo go lona gore di help?
Thank you, Honorable Kekgonohile. We actually wanted to use this Old Mau Hospital as a primary hospital because we and the team, the DHMT at the time, they actually were ready to start operating at that, and we had even requested to be allowed to use the bits that were completed, but we never got the permission from the ministry. Because they understood they still had issues with the contractor then. So we would actually want that hospital particularly we had wanted to use, and we had been engaging with the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transport to be allowed to use the portion that was complete.
Still use it for primary hospital?
Well, at the time, that was last year, before the movement. But now, of course, with the movement, we're going to have to because it is the same people now who have moved to Ministry of Local Government, so would need to re-engage differently. But at the time, that is what we wanted to use it for.
Currently, ha lena se legal go se dirisa sepatela se. Because primary health care can't run a primary hospital, can it?
No. Yeah, but currently we're going to need to actually now re-look at all the infrastructure that we have. But that one, I'm just talking to the particular one because you asked about it, that we had wanted to use it.
So the agency is not there, it's going to take another 10 years?
Well, I hope not.
The development projects are similar from page 65 right up to one, right up to one. But there are quite a few projects that terminate. The development project is similar from page 65 right up to.
Maybe just to
maybe Baba Kabuaka the few that terminate. On page 66, upgrading a clinic without maternity outlook. It's been terminated. Contractor.
Yeah, let's just ask them to speak to terminated projects.
Yes.
Let's speak to them. You may not mention all of them, but so that we get an idea of why the computer education terminate. Can you speak to terminated projects?
I will talk to Kautui, and then I will ask Re to remind me. So
you'll ask who?
The director for projects and procurement, because the projects are under him. But when we last had a meeting, it was terminated. The previous contractor had been there was stagnation. There was poor performance, and so there was stagnation at 75%. But the new information I have now is that it's now at 95%. And the thing that is delayed is the air conditioning that needs to be in place. And so that's the latest information on this project. The staff houses, as it is that the contract had abandoned the site, so therefore the contract was terminated, and there's a new process of re-tendering for staff housing. But unfortunately, it now comes at a time when the finances may not be fully available, unless I'm advised that the funding is still available.
I guess we have been referred to an officer who deals with projects, right? I think it may be time to get him on to get him to explain a few things around project, and because you're talking about terminated projects, you're talking about the retentions and the state of major projects generally.
Che, gongwe pele ha o mo ikantsha o tla intshwarela ne ke no tile ha ke tsore e tudile ya on issue ene le ya old buildings se tsone tsa dipatela gore ha le sample la akanya gore le ka dira eng mme maphata a mangwe a governmente ba nna le gone gore ba thoka dikago tse gore ba ka di dirisa. Are you amenable to gore le ka ba handela that old building refurbished as it is or not refurbished as it is, or bone gongwe ba ka kgona go e tena go e refurbisha? I'm looking at a situation whereby Maung Old Hospital, for example, can be turned into a primary school to decongest the primary schools.
I suppose we could look at all the proposals and be guided as to whether they can be turned. So far, I'm not aware that any government ministry has made a proposal to use them to anything.
So, Baba kana le kgatlhego ba ka ba approach.
Ke dumela ya le gore ba ba ka nna le kgatlhego ba ka ba approacha mme ebile gape ke dumela gore le rona as mapalamente around the country we can still initiate that kgatlhego.
Hey, ke ra gore se ka ga nna hela andre ka diso ya go le interest ya rona ya go di heleletsa go di maintain ka re ga enne kalo but ha gona le bona le kgatlhego kana se kgatlhego hela gore even some rentals may be paid there, so that would make optimal use of the facility. When we work to deal with projects, I guess it's time to get them to explain a few things. Because I already say project. There are projects that have been terminated, one. Number two, there are projects where there are retentions. There are also abandoned projects, or there are also delayed projects. Maybe it's time for you to just take us through these projects. And we will then have to have you take oath so that you help us with the project. Stand up, sir, and you can choose to use the Bible or affirmation. Okay, thank you very much. Are you using the Bible, sir? Are you using the Bible? Okay, all right. It's in Tatar. Yes, we
I,
your name, swear by Almighty God, that the evidence I shall give before this Committee of Parliament shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing else but the truth. So help me God. Yeah. Santa, take us through projects that have been terminated. You may not mention all of them, but the high value ones really, we are interested in just getting your story, right? And then secondly, there are retentions on some projects. We want to know how long you'll be retaining such. Because you still have retentions on them. And then on other projects, they have been delayed, but they are major projects. Maybe just to explain what total needed dealing in those major projects. And where possible, you can mention time and cost overruns. We'll be happy to hear from you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you so much. Project terminated.
Yes, sir.
Kita set us some examples.
Yes, please.
project ya ka no ya go Kaukwe, we had staff houses, which was constructed to be constructed along with the clinic. So the project, the contractor constructing staff houses was terminated, owing to some poor performance and abandonment of site. So we have started the procurement for engaging an alternative contractor. So currently the tender is still at adjudication stage. So upon engagement of the contractor, the final account will be prepared, which determines the cost owed as a result of delay. So unfortunately, Mutla Stilo, owing to the financial strait, the ministry determined that the projects that had not started to date would not progress because we currently have projects on site that we are unable to honor the obligation of pay because of the financial situation that currently persists. Projects under retention, we have projects under...
Project terminated.
Terminated.
Is that the only one?
Well, another project terminated is Boroti staff houses, yes. We are constructing staff houses in Boroti. Initial contractor was terminated, again owing to underperformance. And we engaged a new contractor who has completed them as we speak. The houses are now under the defect liability code. So we managed to complete those ones at Boroti village.
Thank you.
I think those are the two examples I can cite for now. 40-minute projects.
Yeah, we can proceed.
Can proceed. Thank you.
Honorable Mtausani.
Termination implication. I'll talk to that. What are the implications for who terminate the contract in the middle and what are the cost implications there? Maybe and talk to these amounts. Another same project in Ubuakayon. The approved estimate was 4,386,127, and your actual expenditure is 1,827,964. But when it comes to the total spend to date, it shows 11,067,785. Page 66. Can you talk to that?
What
explicit?
Oh, sorry to read. What you're showing here is what was warranted for that year. If you could tell us what was the original contract sum, and what are the implications there?
What was the original contract sum, and what are the cost implications of retendering and using a different contract?
Thank you, Mutla Stilo. To be honest, I don't have the figures on top of my head, but the implications are real, Mutla Stilo. Because the project is time-bound, in most cases, when the project is terminated, the cost of completion also increases. That means the final value of the works done and paid by the previous contractor and the amount paid by the completion contract, when they are added together, they in most cases exceed the initial value. And the procedure is that we have to bill the initial contractor to lay the costs for completion of the work. That is contractual. The implications, of course, are more financial because ordinarily the project delayed with time, the material cost is escalating. Of course, the delay in provision of service.
Yeah, delay also is in relation to the provision of service. and the opportunity cost associated with the delay.
Okay, I think le gone hela in the kind this is just the report ya projects again. But how can we contract some? We need to have a column where supang gore project cost ya teng ke bokae ya ka re bua gore the warranted ke bokana dirisho bokana. It doesn't give us a picture ya go itse gore tota what are we trying to reconcile here?
Kana ga ya prepare according to the guidelines. You're supposed to show what was warranted and for that year in it and provide additional information. Original contract sum.
Yes.
What is the amount to date? How long the cost overruns in Elebukan? Time overruns in Elebukan. That's what says in the guidelines.
You know, we have examined many people. There's a different. They are so in touch with this project. How about the project? They have all the detail. Must follow guideline. Maybe when they detail or contract somebody lebukana with the restore. I see something peculiar with this ministry that in touch. Earlier on, I used the word intimate. They're not intimate with the detail of what they are doing. This is quite very worrying to me. How we have a project or the other project that you talked about. No, your director projects should be able to tell us kana mo batho ba bang le bone di driver tse di kolota o itela ba itsile maina a tsone nya yo ra mo itse a kere gore ke o na retire maabane. That level of intimacy of detail I think is lucky.
I think Chairman, that speaks to preparations. I think with due respect, some of the officers here prepare. It's like a PAC examination, and there's a project of that type. Lack of preparation at all, and this borders on disrespect to PAC, because as a technical, should not be telling you what you are supposed to do, really. So, Chairman Nikalawari, the officer, this committee seriously. And we are going to do this job together with you and other ministries for the next 5 years. So let's start on a good foot.
Ke boikarabelo jo botona jo ja gore o bo hilwe maemong director projects kana o ka somarela go tsa ba latha madi a setšhaba. So me a re tsweleleng pele
let's get it from the accounting officer. How often do you meet your subordinates to get to know progress? This unit.
Well, it depends on the units, but we do meet regularly. The projects we haven't really met recently, except for as we were preparing to come. But generally, we actually follow, because we also used to have to account on the progress. So we had regular updates. In fact, when I looked at this, I had asked that we needed a column of the total warranted. So that's why I actually thought that it would have been added because I had asked for it.
Do you give yourself time to look at the reports and see how they can be helpful in your operation?
Now you can see how disappointing the reports are. Were you aware of these challenges that some of your officers are facing?
That's what I said, that we had agreed that that column of the total warranted was going to be added, at least not in this because it was already submitted, but I thought in his report. So
I'll maybe propose that you meet them quite often, even on quarterly basis, to assess their work, so that you are not disappointed when you come here.
Yes, we have committed that from here we will meet quarterly to deal with these issues.
Now we have this book, yeah. It's in us, the PAC guy. The PAC report. Oh, it's on.
No, I don't have it here.
Where's the PAC report?
60th.
A.
Can you?
This PAC report, if you go to Roman 2, it's got all the submission guidelines. The technically it's all written here, or this is how they're supposed to present. No, that's how they're responding to the memo. This is the memo.
Are you familiar with this book? Have you seen it before?
Yes.
Linalion? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, or argument about finance. It's not so so I already must follow. Retention. We're talking about termination retention.
Sorry, Chair.
Yeah.
Me, what are we saying? Kanye everywhere or Totaro kana lego with the contracts. It would not be wise for us to leave it that way. But we need such a report. We have to know or what are we examining. It's like hari di recipe.
I think maybe we should ask them to give us.
Yes, contract project.
Total project.
Resubmit.
The contract
resubmission on this one.
Resubmission on this one.
Any projects?
We will do that.
Yeah.
We'll submit a comprehensive report.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mr. Genusua, it's already you. I am not going to allow report the LIC mo PC. This is to take an ucheka. Are we adhering to what we have, procured? Again.
Okay. Retentions. Okay.
From 72. Oh, are we done?
It's well. A project under retention, Mudlastilo, yes, it is evident there are a number of projects that have been overdue for retention. Some of the projects are because the contractors did not show up for redoing of retention. In most cases, those are maintenance projects, minor maintenance projects. So basically, what requires to be done is to engage an alternative contractor to do the works. But given the time that is elapsed, it becomes appropriate to request to take them to the retention figure to the consolidated fund, because even when you have to do the maintenance on the same project, it will be as good as undertaking a new project. especially for maintenance projects.
So no re mo tsere le bakale le madi a tia ka busiwa.
Yes, sir. Or it will remain with the government.
E kra bona ka ile madi a shota Malaysia.
Unclaimed after 5 years is also what to the consolidated fund.
Yes.
What is the time frame?
5 years
After 5 years, the money should be returned.
to the consolidated fund.
Okay. So, gora gore ha ile gore ana le bakanyana. Ga se gore la buse ne rena le rights ha ne ba gena makhanetso. Khanetsam. Armadi ayo. Gora pa ka bonwa gora buele ko letoleng. Delayed projects?
Delayed projects, most of the projects that are delayed, example of Ngarange project, we are constructing a clinic in Ngarange village. The clinic has been delayed due to the standoff between ourselves and the company. The company abandoned the site, and the matter is currently submitted for arbitration. So we are handling the matter with the AG's chamber to defend ourselves at the arbitration. Along the site arbitration, the contractor also requested for settlement, and it is still also under review with the AG's chamber to see whether it is viable to settle or continue with the arbitration process. That is then an example of Ngarange. Some of the projects that are delayed are normally due to performances of the contractors. Most of the contractors, or some, let me put it this way, they are really not doing the best that they could do. Of course, we are doing everything contractually, either inducting penalties, writing some caution letters so that we push them to undertake the projects. We also regularly engage on site meetings scheduled, say monthly, so that we put pressure on them to complete. Some of the reasons why we sometimes take a longer time to terminate is because we are anticipating that the contractor will finish, because we know that when he is making a progress, terminating and restarting is obviously going to be more expensive. So we end up tending to pepetesa gore ba etse la gone re itse gore
I tlhaloganya eo akanya gore ha o terminate go to tura kana o le ka mo pepetetsa hela until thy kingdom come. Ra o ta dira ja. Ba bangwe tota a ke le bone mo ba direla rona matiaro na ngo bona hore ma ke mo pepetetsa hela. Angare ke hiro mo kana mathata. But hela general ukare gona le issue ya performance ya di contractors as well. Ha ke ba le sekisa morago mme hale terminate.
So far we don't have any company that we terminated that is suing. So, like I said, so far within the recent years, we have just completed Borosi after termination.
Okay.
I think we
Take you an arbitration hela.
Arbitration hela got involved Malawi and arbitrators, of course.
Ora ro ba ipone molato. Ne
Wana kanya any projects. I think government has to try and get put a clause. It's strict mogoring what happens to the contractor has a performing. It's in yala mogoteng kuraka grapa petletsa batho go ile so much that repapetsa di contractor tse di tona tota tsa bo e-scale. E tla pepetediwa gona ha ne lwa madi pepetedi ne lwa, and this thing is happening because government on a system where they pay what we call mobilization. And this mobilization, it makes people crazy. Baba runaba sega runaba. Ela akanelwa having mobilization before he even starts the work. o simolotse go reka dikoloi tsa manobonobo tse e leng gore they are not related to the industry. Kore imagine you go and buy a Range Rover, o dira construction. The next thing, madi a hella ko ga o kgone go dira tiro ba nna ba ba pepetletse. Nna ke dumela gore the solution to this ke gore go na le ga go bidiwa mo ga gore the contractor ene ke ena iso setse madi with the bank gore a kgone gore le nne di guarantee you guarantee ka gore wa wele monetse project gona le gore be re nna re ntsha madi a ko. That is why a lot of di contractor tsa rona tsa Batswana che di hella tse dintsi di sia di tlogela project. I want to about claim retention because they know they have already made massive amounts of money. E be ba sa hetsi tiro government o sala ha ba terminate wa go boa tshwana kora a ba tema di a mangwe gape go leka go heletsa project. I think this one re tshwanetse gore re simole go akanya botoka go heta ka re ntse re dira so that these people all these contractors ka gore ga so re ke ntsha tsa Batswana ka lisolo go le tsone tse ditonatse hela ka ba netle yana tsa ene tsele ya jwene ya ka e dirwa gape. It was not necessary, you see. So kanya di project
I think you made your point, honorable. Gone go a tswenya ka gore kre ba tsa one mobilization go ba geletsa site ka di senke a ba sna ga geletsa site ka di senke mo re ka tsweng di lori tsweng no di bua ba tsamaile bone ba keshitse ba shapo ba rekile tsweng dikoloi tse di buibantse honorable Phologolo wa di tsaya ne ke re gongwe a ke re buile ka retention a delayed project a gona le tse di abandonwe yana tse di sa tholeng show interest mo go tsone le bone ba wa sa show interest mme di na le baka di le ho.
Yeah, so far with last deal, honorable, we don't have those kind of projects.
Okay.
On the Lusta Beja.
Yeah.
We have projects, abandonment, the hell termination, which we have done to the projects, examples that I have stated.
Yeah. Yeah, you have about 30 projects que ça aurait argument gore di tawela le hatse di motsa madi di era me di tawela. Thank you very much, Director. I think we can move.
Okay, let's go to page 72.
Yes, you're there.
Item 3, there's no evidence.
No evidence. It shall be sought.
Sought, noted, ma'am.
Okay, let's go to page 75. Item 19, yes.
Page 75, number 19. 15, 16, 17. Oh, that's why. Number 19.
No evidence? No annexure, no evidence? Let's go to 80. Let's go to 87.
Number 90.
Item 85. 85 and 86.
No figures.
Then let's go to page 95. Item 131.
But why? I mean, can this be addressed?
Which one, Honorable?
For the pages that we've been flipping to Usupala, no evidence.
Okay, so what Honorable Paul is saying is that there are a lot of instances where there is no evidence. Maybe we should engage, that is what you're saying. Why is there no evidence? You, give us no evidence.
I think, okay. I think it's just a typing error, which we did not realize, we did not identify. So it will be corrected, ma'am. Just a typo. I would investigate why this, I didn't realize them. I went through the report, but I didn't find this. It did come clear to me.
I don't think
I'll
typo
rectify
would
that.
be a correct reason
There
for.
are some which were in the Auditor General's report, which were like blank. We'll come back to that. I'll address it, ma'am.
Yeah, kana gore seo se buang ke gore ke gone re le gone ke gone o bonang kgotsa o no a bona hetse o sena o romela report gore go na le bothata yo bo bisang type. It can be a type though.
I would say ke gone ke bonang ha, to tell the truth ke gone ke e lemogang. Go na le tse e leng gore di ne
Wa
di-
bona gore ya go Honorable Monageng.
Era.
Wa bona gore ya go ena.
And the truth is what we
no.
need, to be honest. I mean,
I
there's
need-
blank and you say it's a type, but nothing is typed there.
Erra, go na le tse e leng gore di ne di cleariwa ke adjustment e le nngwe hela. So I need to verify gore a mme tse was part of them or how.
Ha ile gone o bona ha ile
Ke gone ke
gone o
bona
bonang
bothata.
gone. Gore a re ya no batla go dira Honorable Monageng ne ke mo profit. O na bua gore a gona preparation. O ra re ka re dibuka ele tsa gago e be le rona ha re di bona nako e le ngwe hela le wena gore ke blank. Bo ke gone o e bona blank ya teng. And it's not like one or two. That's quite a number.
Erra.
What? It goes all right up to page 109. With that 109, okay. And then let's go to page. Yeah. Okay, let's go to page 125. Deposit other.
129.
125.
125.
No comments?
No, I just wanted to ask about this number 5. If this long-standing amount was withheld from Ramadisa projects, appeared for adjudication, which made a ruling in 2014 that the liquidated damages withheld be returned to the contractor with interest. This is from 2014 when that ruling was made. Yeah, and the question is why is it still here?
lebaka conference.
So sorry, Kenos was just saying we will investigate and apologize that we don't have an answer right now.
I have a comment. Custom side. Item 8. No, CMS in page 126. This one. I think so. I was not known. CMS. How did I have you noted? Take action. MI is noted will take action.
Then we go to 120.
We go to 127 as well. Kore defense. This is the diranga.
You are talking to item what in 127, number 8.
Number 11, yeah, malaria examination. Implementation was hampered. The other challenge was the procurement. Can these funds get donor funds were they not? Honorable.
Emma.
Yeah, no court keep it over as
4 million. 128.
Same with this one, yeah, AstraZeneca, or what are the funds still? 9 million on page 128. Because it looks like the study is terminated, and here's a balance here. Is sitting her. And it's in one. La buona maker. The concern cuts on these balances to the statement 14. For Canada, they're not mentored. It's on Nahela.
But one might just ask, Mori and AstraZeneca, where is this credit? Is the money still there, or it is money on paper?
Remittances. Okay. The money is not necessarily with Ministry of Health. It's with the Finance, Office of Accountant General as regards the Bank of Botswana account. So
Kana when a donor would have given you
Okay.
a se gore re ba kope ba
Yeah, go siame.
kana madi a kere ke
O
a-
no re go siame?
Nnyaa, ke reditse gore
ne ke ra kere madi a tswa ko donoreng for that specific study. The study is over and here's a balance mostly Hana. Gore yaanong go irwang ka yone, why is it still here?
I would refer to my colleagues to help me.
No, but kana gore ba bilela but kana that's the concern. Ke madi a
I've been conferring to the advisor here, and her view is that you should find out what your contract with the donor was, because sometimes you may find a clause that says if there's any remaining money, this is how to dispose of it. Yeah, so nobody sees and make it and then maybe.
She was awaiting a colleague to furnish her with with information to address the same concern.
Are you seeing any progress?
She hasn't said there isn't any.
Okay,
I'm saying.
Well, this to just.
There
No,
is.
let's proceed with the advice of the chair. This is not making any difference. Let's proceed with the advice of the chair.
There is no progress. So, can you find out?
Yes, we will.
Please do.
Yeah.
And we move.
And then to page 31. Yeah.
Page 31.
131, I'm sorry. There's be no movement there, this income tax, and maybe what reconciliation is going on.
Emma, to me, I would say there is a movement. The problem was the personnel who were to do this back then didn't understand how the accounts, these accounts operate. So we've, I would say we have reconciled the accounts, as you can see in item 2, 3, 5, and whatever. The accounts have been reconciled and the corrective measures have been done in the financial year 23-24, at least for the 2 accounts. If I was to explain what is happening with these accounts, these are holding account. This is a holding account whereby when you pay salaries to temporary employees, you would then retain the tax element, which will be then crediting that account, awaiting to pay BRS with the funds, and then the account would nil. So if you look at the balances of maybe account, the first line, the first item, which says 1101, you would find that upon investigation, you would identify and maybe diagnose the problems. You would find that 1101 and 1108, is it 1101? They are related, the balances. So the same goes with 1106 and 1107. So the reconciliation that is ongoing is to diagnose and unpack the balances. So then thereafter you can make corrective measures. So we have so far managed to reconcile about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've managed to reconcile about 8 accounts for this, for pay as you earn, and we are only left with the 3. So the reconciliation is trying to see to it what really happened in the accounts. And in most cases, you would find there are misposts or transposition errors where they have twisted figures here and there. It doesn't necessarily mean we owe BRS or what. So if you can look at the balances, they're related in a way.
There are lots of errors because I see there are lots of
Yes.
debit balances as
Yes.
well. Lots of
Yes.
errors.
It doesn't necessarily mean we owe BRS.
Tota story se sengwe hela go ipaakanye go lebegale sa ipaakanya maybe le itselantha go lebega ministry wa rona o sa ipaakanya. Those who have interacted with you before are saying diphoso tse dintsi di bonala ha moragonyana di ntse di tsweletse ga di kgaotse di tsweletse. So redeem yourself by correcting whatever you need to correct so that when we meet next go tla go lebega gona le tokagalo ya seemo. Because ha go sena tokagalo ya seemo ya nore di ane go entsi gape go lebega ke tokare re batho ba re sa siama ra kgerisa. Me Lord tota generally we just want clarifications on things that have not been done properly.
Chair. Kanye ya go leka go dira di reconciliation le tota le tshwantse o be le dirile mo nakong e kae gore every month when do you close your accounts for the month?
All things being well, these accounts have to be reconciled on a monthly basis. But when we started to reconcile this, I realized there were no reconciliation at all. So we had to start from inception of the accounts in that short period of time. So to me, I would say there is progress, like you would see our comments.
Who actually hasn't done their work go dira sene ba tshwantse go se dira on a monthly basis that made you gore go simolla go not? And what action have you taken mo go bone? It's our staff sa gago so ba ile gore ke bone ba dira these recons a wena go bone go siame hela gore e be re gore go mo ga go dirwe according to the financial regulations o ta bo ga o dira o le ka go prepare la PAC. Have you taken any action?
A reactionary is go incapacitate go trainer onto this because they didn't understand.
Really?
Yeah.
But Rone Chairman, the chief accountant, there's how many months is this? How month one if it was a reconciliation, or month 2, month 3, month 4 until now? Why did it have to accumulate? Don't those reconciliations? How did you go in every month? So you didn't do your job. You did not do your job. P.S. You have to take action. She did not do her job. Ask her if it is a good class. She's the one who's supposed to oversee them. She did not do her job, which means you didn't do your job, P.S.
Yeah.
You're the one who's accountable.
The buck stops.
You are the one who's accountable. We can't continue like this. It's a new PAC. We're not going to be sending people back. They are not going to look at the reports a few days before Batlakwan.
Yes.
From here onwards, they must reconcile everything, do everything right, and we're not playing.
It's then just chair of not doing some recons. Go na le possibility ya gore re duele hela re tswelle ka go duela hela and na ka gore mo ga goromente ga se ke bereke goromente ke gone ke simolola go kopana le dilo tse mme nna hela my background ya kgantsi ke gore gone ga ntse ke se experience mo goromente ke gore go na le go nna gote madi a hedile ko voting e vote e ga ena madi ya be go twa jang gote vote e ga ena madi isn't it because la bo gona go reconcile gore nya vote e santse ena le madi nyang ka duela ha purchase order etla o sport nyame a ena le madi tota now go pala eng gore on a monthly basis go tsiswe the books of accounts go wena wena gore a sengwe se tsamaya sentle kana these are the leaks tse madi a puso a tsamayang ka tsone gore le motho o mo duetse you won't even realize gore o duetse motho o mongwe ka nna wa boa mo duela gape ke gore ga go a reconciling tota che we should be very very strict on it ga se le phatalehele gore le le worse ne era ga se bone hela I realize a lot of maphata go itirelo ara mo le gore tla kela bile ya ka bona gona le kganyadi overpayments mo di salarying gona le di interest tse le gore ga di busiwi kgantela le lekile batho ga re itse ko ba teng agency le ka ile ka nteng madi a ile ga government I think as senior officers you really need to up your game ka gore it translates to the fact that ya no gora gore gale e le tlhokoto ta gore go dira galae and ha ba tla ba le neela go ntse yala na go te go and present go PAC ida lo ana khantela yanong imagine the public is listening chief accountant wa go health ke ma ba gona go di yo mago e batho ba bua gore o ile hala go sa go deserve go pa gore go mo go bankang
ke tsa rra o ile gore hela ke re gone di khantse tsa rona tsa PAC a ke re ke ngwaga wa rona wa ntla re ya no re ka tsena hela ka go kopa le go gakolola gore nko le dire dio sente ke gone re ka tsena ka di randi o sente so that re ska rata ra alwa le lona di randi o sente ka gore o ta utwa ba bua gore one ba direla puso ba ntse ba re ke le se ke sa robala ke prepare la PAC a ra e tsena ka moso so please a re direng dilo sente a re tswelele matso
Page 134, item number 10, you close. Page 136. Accountant General Norin, item 1 we close, eh? I get Accountant General. Item 1 we close, more page 136. Item 3. Close. Item 4.
We close item 3.
And we close item 4.
Yes.
Item
Even item 1.
2 and 5, I get how there's no evidence. Okay. Then we go to page 140. Item 17, we close. 18, close. Item on page 141, item 33, close. Page 143, item 54, close. Page 145, item 79, close. Page 146, item 99, close. And we go to Okay, then we go to recovery of overpayment of salary. I notice lots of issues of locating ex-employees. Go simolola ka page 156. Go na le di-issue tse dintsi tsa locating ex-employees. Yun. Okay, tsone di dintsi tsone. So what are the issues regarding this recovery?
Like Honorable Pologolo sometimes says, let's now just get a brief of why this is happening. The numbers that I have here indicate that the non-moving on the overpayment of salaries is about 400.
If you look,
460.
Look at page 177. Yeah.
Can we get just a brief for a? You are talking about locating ex-employees. Do you even start looking for them? You can't locate people you don't start looking for them.
Honorable Rabatsum, but we realized that the ministry did not have a proper database that is up to date that would allow us to find and to trace someone, because many of the ex-employees, we found that we did not have the up-to-date know your customer, so we would not know we found that the database was very old. Sometimes the information that the person inputted at the time of first employment. So we have actually developed a database, but that would not solve these ones, unfortunately. But it would solve going forward. That would actually, if somebody, whether somebody absconds or whatever happens, we would at least have more current information on them and be able to follow them. So that is what we have actually trying to do, and we also have developed a monitoring tool that will actually also, because sometimes it's when we noted that some of these cases, someone decides to resign by a check in a facility, say in Selibi Pigwe. They will submit that to the hospital, but the hospital had been waiting for headquarters then to write them to say, yes, we approve the resignation. But now this has been decentralized, to at least to suspend the salary, the payroll to the hospital superintendent, so that they can actually awaiting the finalization of the processes, so that the salaries do not continue when people are actually no longer there. And we also have started doing working with our internal auditor, doing quarterly payroll audits, just to be sure that they're actually up to date. So this will actually address issues going forward, but these ones will not be addressed by those that we.
Accounting officer, at page 157, that's why I was saying earlier, Nagazini was spending too much time explaining. What raise more eyebrows, because how are we like 157? This is a matter from number 19 and 20. Kiri Khanza, it's about 2013, 2016. And then the last update, you made a follow-up only this year with Attorney General Chambers. So what is the status? What is the update concerning number 20 and number 19?
Maybe through you, Check. Can I request that the data is clear? Like, most of these cases, maybe the narrative will be needed. So Nekira suggests now same as the previous ones in a deal internal. Most of these matters, some of them don't appear in our system, some of them have already been closed, we have recommended the write-off, some have been cleared. So, ne ke kopa gore gongwe re dumalane go kopana le accounting officer, then we get a proper narrative of all the cases.
Modulasetulo, ke na le problem ya di follow up tse ileng gore gate ga di kgonagala. Botswana being what it is, ha motho a bereka mo Ministry of Health, ga ke tsora me o ka nna le rate ya more than 70% ba sa bona le go ba leng teng. Because Botswana people are located mo dikgoteng tsa bone. The file will show gore motho o tswa kae. The man number will tell gore motho o ke mang. So how you are failing to follow up these cases? Now, I really don't understand. Do you really do some follow-ups?
Yeah.
How much ku Suronga? How you get to Suronga? So easily. You can use your offices that are your outstations to follow up these people.
There are no follow-ups, Honorable. No follow-ups are done here.
Okay.
I think the Senior Council has made a proposal, which I think is accepted, that you meet with the accounting officer and get a proper information on the status of these cases, and then you advise accordingly. Is that what you were suggesting, Senior Council?
Cases which have been referred to Attorney General, not the cases which have been located internally.
Yes.
Those are two different.
Those that have been referred to the Attorney General, please meet up with him and make and map the way forward. Thank you very much. Let's
Okay, page 180, item 17, we closed. I see that two officers here who went on study on Chinese sponsorship and the qualifications were not recognized. DPSM was engaged and recommended internal resolution. So what was the resolution? No? Page 180, that number 14. I see that two officers who have the China issue. They were supposed to pay the training board. There was what? I don't know what happens. Eh? Okay, let's move on then.
As regards page 178, item number 1 has since been cleared. We have provided evidence, but it was after we submitted the report. Item number 1 regarding the stage Chiapo.
Are you saying cleared?
Yes, fully paid.
But your comment doesn't reflect.
Yes, I'm saying we submitted documents after we have brought the report there with the Accountant General, the receipts. I even have copies here with me.
Oh, okay. I guess that's for one of the AGs to confirm.
Yes, we do have some documents from Ministry of Health that they have submitted. Unfortunately, this one we don't have unless somehow it didn't reach us.
Okay. Oh.
Madam Advisor, please.
Should we go? Chris has to.
Because you took us back to 178, I explain number 3. Neki needs over, I will not engage. But I've highlighted it, obviously. Can you explain what you mean by erroneously creating some figure there?
Error.
Number 3.
Error. Thank you, Honorable Holo Holo. From what I gather is that initially the ministry was calculating the bond with a wrong formula, right? And then later on they were given the right formula that they should use. Actually, they were prorating the bond to the employees.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right. Initially, the explanation was they were calculating the bond using a wrong formula. They were prorating the bond to the employee's salary. So there was a court order to revise the formula. So they had to recalculate the value of the bond. So hence the differences that we are talking about here.
And whose fault was it?
Huh?
Whose error was it?
What she's
I'd
saying,
say it's us.
I think what she's saying was that previously there was a misunderstanding of how you calculate the bond liability once you've been sent to school by government.
Yeah.
But that was now cleared in court, where now a properly written calculation was given to ministries. So now, after that court order, then people who had been overcharged, where then the amount was reimbursed to them. Those who were undercharged, the same or the opposite happened. Okay. So there was an error in administration, but it was cleared by the courts.
Okay, so this applies for others,
Yes.
not only the one.
For those that we had miscalculated the
Okay.
bond. Yeah.
We may continue.
Okay, maybe give us 183 or health services management. Because it's already the
Sorry, Chair, can I
maybe let's go and talk more about 19.
Accountant General,
Yes,
you may switch off.
please, just
Yeah.
for the sake of the documents that she has been submitting, we have checked they're okay. We can close number 1 on page number 178.
So you're taking us back to 178?
Yes, please. Sorry.
178.
Number 1 closed.
Number 1 closed.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you may continue, technical advisor.
I was just asking about this health services management. But page 192, sale of drugs. The drugs is or something. I can see it's institutions and what.
I think it's on its Ma Israel was trying to explain earlier. Oh no, it's not Ma Israel. It's you. This one saying some of these may have actually paid, but I think maybe explain why we miss it. So.
Do they form part of the 13 million earlier?
Some of them are.
Okay.
So we need to unpack the balances and see to it why, see to it what the correct balances are, how much has been paid, and this and that. So we reconcile.
Are we on the same page? We may continue.
Yeah, and it seems already the private inpatients and outpatients, it seems already there a problem. A ke itse gore a ba emela ba sa duela kantoro. Di tletsela mo pageng, right up to page what?
All these
A ba
pages
tsamaya
are
go sa
follow-ups.
duelwa kantoro bereka.
So there are two different types of private patients. Some called private patients, not necessarily because they are in a private, but most of them being non-citizens because they pay a private fee, if we're to call it. So sometimes or many times they leave before paying, and so these are the ones that would leave before, would have left before paying, and sometimes difficult to trace for many reasons. Sometimes because maybe the information given hadn't been inaccurate, but then in a lot those that are from Botswana, those that are Botswana, most of them come from Nyangabo Referral Hospital because they started charging medical aids for those people who are on medical aids. They started to charge medical aids for admitting or just for consulting. But then there seem to have been challenges with actually recovering the funds from medical aids. So a lot of these are apparently owed by medical aids. BIPOMAS mean.
Jaanong e ya di-foreigner ba be ba abscondile or what? How do they leave the hospital ba sa duela?
It's multiple reasons. Sometimes if somebody comes and they are in labor, you really you have no choice but to deliver the baby and provide the service. And then if they can't pay, it's difficult. We can't keep them in the hospital. So there are multiple reasons. A lot of them come as emergencies. And as a health system, you save lives. So we then, it's very difficult to recover the money.
What's the way forward? Because once a foreigner come here, hearts are made low.
Yeah, I guess this is
And then
what
go on now, booking.
can the AGs also
Advise.
give us a way forward? Because we are likely to see this forever unless something is done to address it. Mr. Chair, back to you, sir.
Thank you for holding forth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if you meant. Nekere, I don't know if you meant AG Attorney General, but if it's me, what I suggest, kana a deficiency in the ministry, they're trying to take us out of the market by doing what maybe we're supposed to be doing. We maybe are trying to recover the debt. So maybe I'll suggest that where there's a debt, maybe immediately refer to Attorney General, as long as you have got the address of the person, physical address, not postal. So that these are reasonable debts. I don't imagine you sending a debt for 216 because it's going to cost the government more than 216 to recover that debt. So where there's a debt and it's a substantial amount, I would recommend that if you have the physical address, maybe refer the debt to Attorney General.
Technical advisors is that by looking at the names. But just by looking at the names, whatever I ever resign. I ever resign. So those are just things.
I know that throws a span in the works if you high law careful. But if it's a local and you've got the physical address, then we can try and trace the person. But high law we have embassies. High law are legal in the country. That is what we can try and use.
Yeah.
Okay. I go page 206. What was the issue, Kalina? From page 206 right up to 209.
Emma, this name, yeah, Gladys Mutsami, it lands more us, and so we are investigating as to what really happened. So in the 2 weeks that we had to present the report, we didn't have sufficient time to interrogate and see to it what actually happened. So we are going to do some investigation on it to see to it actually, because it can't be one person for so many items. So we reborn it to we will take action.
Oh, Chairman, when me hofa no hiralang kanana babanga khatena hiralang hof. Kera ora madia dule or are not what was going on?
Kiskoloto.
Ekikoloto.
Yeah, the problem is what Pieralina Lele one more reporting kaniti. So we are trying to establish what really happened here.
Nakibela hore ke hela go supa gore tota ga go checkiwa ne go sa tshwanela. I mean, maybe I may be wrong, but dimela gore go tshwantsa go sa ka ga checkiwa sentle.
Yeah, I think what meeting the chairman urle ba bantse ba lebeletse last 2 weeks. I kept no real. So ora ba ke gone ba ile ban tota.
Me di fanetse advice o bua nnete. Di fanetse ke tsa baagisane. Menyati bo chuma Tendai majaji ba tsa baagisane tse. Lord, are there any prospects of recovering? Maybe they got the county office. Worry.
They are usually very difficult to recover because they are usually very difficult to recover because even sometimes when they die in our facilities, occasionally we have to bury them because nobody claims the body, and usually we don't get a lot of assistance from the embassy.
Hey, I guess ba committee.
Yes.
Here is a real issue that we must deal with. Why do they talk about Hakuludi Hore? Mainake. Holebega ila ba gisani ka bontsi ja one. Ka re go lebega. Ya ha ile re make nnete ke ba gisani. Go nna ya re go ba bata go Zimbabwe. Re dira yang go tsa go kgona go determine gore how care prospects for recovery are non-existent. Especially that I'm not going to
So, especially for this one that appears many times, Chair, we'll, as Accountant General, we have a way through our system we can check in the background some of this information. That is why ministries always come to us when they need further guidance for us to assist them. This one, we'll ask them to come and we look further into the system as to why it's coming so many times. There must be something maybe that we could find. But I think the one of what should be done, I think my fellow advisor here did mention something about it. Us as Office of Accountant General, really, I think Attorney General will be in a better place to advise us to how to deal with these ones.
Attorney General, do you feel?
No, I think before the accounting officer can write off or finance, usually there have to be efforts preceding the write-off. So in this case, I know it may be almost impossible, but using diplomatic channels can be an attempt. I can imagine writing a name to the embassy and just bring to their attention this. That's an effort which can be made.
So there must be demonstration of effort.
Yes.
Effort that failed or aborted or something.
Yes.
That is only when you can now move to suggest a write-off.
Yes, that you
I hear you.
Yes. So I think maybe it's for the county officer just to do that effort at diplomatic channels, and if it fails, then that will be an effort.
The county officer. How about pursuing the route as advised by a senior counsel?
We can pursue it.
I think do, because these names will appear here forever. I get go thata go ba bona e ka o bua gore ba bangwe la ba tokagaletse mo di-facility tsa bone le hella le ba bolokile lona because a gona go peo ba claima embassy le yone gangwe ga itse gore e direng ka batho bangwe. So I think please do as advised, try the diplomatic effort, maybe have a list of all names and say we are looking for these people in connection with this, can you assist? And then have a passage of time, headway. If they have not, then you can now talk to the relevant authorities to say that, could you please write off? Just another question. How are Libile advisor? When Jama dia thing, a follow threshold in your PS?
Yes.
A follow threshold in your PS?
Yes.
If this money falls within the threshold, you have a PS. What are you? Can you exercise your powers? Ma?
Because even then, there should still be evidence that there was an attempt to find the person. So I think the advice, seeking diplomatic assistance would do it first before we can even exercise that.
Whatever action PS takes, she also has to protect herself. Or so at least if there's that evidence of effort having been put, and an officer even said, this is what we tried, we have since failed, then at least that will protect her when she's questioned in future.
Yes, I agree with you. PS, make some efforts, concerted efforts through diplomatic channels, and see what you can get out of this. And if there is no headway in terms of finding the people, you then exercise your power. O na le tsela yo ka I defendang ka yona a tse mo ha mongwe a ka go thasela re batho ba ke bontshalao o bo ka gona go se pornya me nna ke lekile ya ka dira yana ka dira yana go na le gore nne le one maina one ya one a sa dire sepe go ra re go tanga ita hela jalo so it doesn't really help us, but it's our advice again. Thank you very much. Let's proceed.
Okay, page 211, item 601. There's no evidence, so we may move. Item 601 on page 211. We are done. We're done. So do we give, and then we're going to the expenditure.
Okay. Is this the ended page? Ready?
Era, we're done.
Okay.
Linile low expenditure can table. Huh? What was the over expenditure? What was the reason for the over expenditure? Page 237.
Page
958. Sure. Page, the last page, 237. There's an over expenditure. Or salaries and allowances. The overspend resulted from increased allowances and the addition of what? The ministry made the decisive blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, it is an over expenditure and it is illegal. But we're done.
Re lebogile thata batho beso ma parlamente ra leboga batho beso le re thotse hela mo botsogong tatsi lotlhe la botsogo re leboga thata for your endurance mme kana ebile re se re wetse tiro ora re ke go nwa tee hela re bo re boela mo ba foreign affairs jaanong county officer re lebogela gore le tsile ka kwa mme we need not restate the issues we have with your ministry. It boils down to what Honorable Monageng has said, that there is clearly a lack of preparation. And when you next appear before us, you should be prepared. If you are not prepared, ha ngwe nna ke tera go ga ba bangwe ba o mana ba re kana ya no ba tshwenya batho mme ke re ipakanye matshwetso. The AGs, thank you for your time and advice that you render all the time. Re lebogile thata batho ha go ba le bantsi ba ba ka kgona go bereka kana go e kana kana ngwe lona ebile overtime ga le bone yaanong mme lwa bereka team next time come better prepared akere ke ra team ka ya team ya ga Honorable Monageng nako e talete le ipaakantse ta batho ba modimo go mo kagiso go monate jang yaanong ga le sa ipaakanya go nna le bothata re lo utile dikgang tsa lona tse dingwe ya ka nne di tswa tsone tsa di-machine tse dingwe tse dingwe tse di go tare di goroga ko DCC ga bona gore ke boma ba ta di isang ko media chain tsa mapodisi le tsone di taya ko ra leboga.
And we hope there's no love lost